Welcome to the 1 Million Years of Joy podcast. I'm Dr. Andrea Benaker, your host, and my intention is to inspire you to find more joy in your life through the stories from our guests and the science on joy and purpose. I'm delighted to introduce to you Monica Flores, who's a communications and public affairs expert who has worked with various corporations in Canada, Latin America, Europe, and the US. She currently advises companies and organizations in the areas of strategic corporate communications, branding, reputation management, public affairs, and stakeholder relations. She has a Bachelor of Arts in Anthropology from McGill University and an MBA from HEC Montreal, and she is a volunteer on several nonprofit boards. Welcome, Monica. So happy to see you today and for you to be with us.
Likewise. Thank you so much, Andrea, for having me.
So, Monica, you have had an absolutely beautiful career in communications. You're also volunteering on so many boards. You're the mother of twins that are turning 5 very soon. And I was curious if you could share with the audience, what are the dimensions of your life that really bring you the most joy?
Well, thank you, Andrea. It's such an important question. I will tell you that what gives me most joy is obviously spending time with my family, my 4-year-old twins, Benjamin and Beatrice, and my spouse, Matthias, and my parents, who I'm very fortunate to still have with us and who live close by, and my brother, who also lives close by. So very tight-knit family. And in addition to that, it's giving back to the community that brings me enormous joy. And my involvement in different community causes on boards really stems from that. It stems from this desire to try to make a difference in the community, to have an impact, a positive one in the community, and to help others succeed and elevate, amplify opportunities for those around me, help the up-and-coming young leaders who are making their mark in this world and really making a difference in the community. That brings me enormous joy. And this is why I give a lot of my time to helping different causes.
So tell us a little bit more about those causes that are really close to your heart.
Well, first of all, being healthcare. So I worked in the global pharmaceutical industry for almost 20 years in different companies in different countries. So as a public affairs and communications leader, I also had a patient advocacy under my remit. And, that really was so magical in terms of aligning with my values, as I stated earlier, about giving back to the community and really working with these patient organizations, empowering them, equipping them with some also possibilities and opportunities so that they could help in turn the patients that they were helping, and really bringing innovation to patients around the world and in different communities. And it stems back to my raison d'etre, I would even say, Andrea, which is giving back and ensuring that others around me in the community, have great opportunities, that we have an equality in terms of the resources that we give those in different areas. So I am on the board of the Children's Hospital. We have a board that really looks around pediatric care, and that's close to my heart, specifically because my twins, who you mentioned earlier, Benjamin and Beatrice, were born premature and were cared for by the excellent doctors at the Montreal Children's Hospital, and I'm forever grateful for that. And really around education, I give back to McGill on the board of the medical faculty and the health science faculty. It's called the FAB, the Faculty Advancement Board. And thirdly, it's culture. And as you know, we've had the pleasure to both be involved with the Museum of Fine Arts of Montreal on the Women of Influence Circle. So really looking at how can we bring more women artists into the collection and supporting different philanthropic endeavors. The last cause that I'm incredibly passionate about is women's leadership. So I'm up until very recently on the board of directors of the International Women's Forum in the Montreal chapter. I'm on their National Advancement of Leadership for Women Committee, and I'm involved in many endeavors that really support and elevate women in our community.
It's so incredible to see the passion that you have and the breadth of all the areas that you're involved in. So congratulations. All the areas you've mentioned are just so essential for our communities, for our societies, and even for the young generations, as you pointed out. And you also mentioned about your twins. I did not know they were premature. That must have been such a challenging time for you. Would you be open to share a little bit more and the joy that emerged after when they were basically back home and healthy? How did that journey go for you?
It was a very, very stressful time. They were born at 33 and a half weeks, and I was hospitalized for 2 months prior to their birth. So it was a very challenging journey and very stressful one. And, it's thanks to incredible medical care, incredible physicians, to whom I am really, truly forever grateful, including Dr. Alice Benjamin, who was my primary physician, and all the neonatologists who cared for our twins when they were born. It really is from that very difficult journey and stressful one that thankfully ended in a very positive way that I developed this desire to give back, particularly to pediatric health care. And when I was contacted to be a volunteer on the Children's Hospital Board, I said absolutely. So this council is called the CSCA, the Council for Services for Children and Adolescents. And we work closely, with the board of directors of the MUHC, the McGill University Health Center, to ensure that pediatric care is front and center. These are future generations that we have to care for. And the gratitude really that came out of this challenging situation has frankly galvanized me and really given me that impetus and the desire to try to give back and make a difference.
And where is the passion coming from to help women grow and evolve as leaders, as you pointed out earlier?
Well, that's, something that makes me incredibly proud to see how many women leaders we have in our community, some of whom are not even very visible, and I've always taken it upon myself to ensure that the current generation, future generations of women leaders are able to really fulfill their potential as much as possible. Last year, with three women from my Latin American community and we came together and decided to create a network for Latin American Canadian women executives. And it was incredible to see the power of the network and the power that women have when we come together as leaders and support one another and amplify opportunities, open the doors of mentorship or coaching, but also sponsorship opportunities. And that stems from, I believe, the role model that has been most influential in my life, and it is my mother, who is a physician and a practicing psychiatrist. I have seen her being such a strong woman, an incredibly inspiring role model. When we immigrated from El Salvador and she launched her medical career in Canada many, many years ago, and she has inspired me every day. And I endeavor to be like her, and she's an incredible model to follow. And if I can give back to women from my community in a similar capacity, I believe that that's something that I actually have a responsibility to do. It's open doors for others, and if they can reach their full potential in their professions, there's nothing better that I think can happen in society is helping people reach their full potential.
It's so important. And that's what really makes us live a life with more joy and feel more fulfilled. It's so essential. So, as you play a key role in being a role model, an inspiration for these young women, or playing that role of supporting them, encouraging them to really reach their full potential, other than your mother, was there anyone else that really played a key role in your field that really encouraged you to evolve and grow throughout your career?
Yes, I was very fortunate in my career in the global pharmaceutical industry to have worked with one woman in particular who was the general manager and president of Bristol Myers Squibb Canada, Teresa Bitetti, who was an incredible, and this to this day, an incredible mentor and friend, who was an incredible supporter, and really somebody who had always been a motivating force for me, a person who's always encouraged me to grow and to really fulfill my potential, given me that impetus and confidence, somebody I greatly admire as a leader. And she has done incredible things for healthcare and is now heading up Takeda Oncology in the United States. She's the president. I've learned so much from her about leadership, what makes a great leader, and also having someone always be an incredible cheerleader and support, encouraging me at every step of the way.
But then, as you're talking about leadership, And some of the research that I've been reading through recently is highlighting, and I'm sure you've seen this, how there's still very low engagement within certain corporations. There's a lack of joy, actually, even within companies. What would be some insights or some lessons that you have learned that you feel leaders could embrace to actually bring more joy within corporate settings?
Well, one perspective that I share is around, the move towards leaders really embracing authenticity. And I think joy is really part of this authenticity that a leader can bring to an organization. And I really believe that leaders are such powerful role models for organizations, and employees really do look up to them, that it's critical that they prioritize well-being of employees. And I believe with the pandemic, we have seen a shift in this area. And in addition, the fact that as an authentic leader, a leader that can really engage employees around having good conversations, connecting with one another, and really having this person-to-person interaction, which I believe is a great source of joy, particularly in situations whereby, like the pandemic, we lost that connection for a long time. And now as we're rebuilding, it's more important than ever, I think, Andrea.
I fully agree. Those human to human connections, particularly when you have the chance to actually meet people face to face, it's recognizing our shared humanity, that we're all human at the end of the day, and irrespective of backgrounds, irrespective of our age, our profession, our education, if we can all come together collectively to inspire each other and to connect deeply, it changes profoundly how we can basically move forward, not only within organizations, but also within our personal lives.
Absolutely.
So tell me about some other influences that have played a key role on how you view joy in your world, particularly because I know, as you've mentioned, you've lived in various countries, have worked in various countries, and through time, I'm curious to know if you're really looking at the younger version of Monica. Has your view on joy changed? And what were some of the key drivers to fuel that change?
Well, yes, I have definitely lived in many places. And I really believe that my life story has shaped who I am, as is with many of us. Having been born in another country, I was born in El Salvador, but I immigrated to Canada at a very young age. And I saw how my parents really sacrificed enormously, leaving their families behind to build a new life for us in Canada, to pursue their education. They pursued graduate studies at McGill and the University of Montreal, and give us all, more opportunities for the future. So that to me was an area that I've explored in terms of my own identity as a Salvadorian Canadian, I'm happy to say, and learning languages. That really part of my curiosity around languages and cultures stems, I believe, from the fact that I came from another country. And I'm very happy to pass on my cultural heritage, not only to my children, but also to those around me, my friends, and even my professional colleagues. Now, the joy evolves, I believe, as we move on in life, to one that is more focused on giving and giving to others. So not so much fulfilling our own ambitions, our own professional aspirations, or even personal objectives, but more to really seeing how can we help others? How can we make a difference? And it stems back to this desire to really have an impact and a social impact. So looking at, people that they have opportunities in terms of their economical well-being, but also their own health well-being. And I'm very happy to be able to help in those areas whenever, somebody who's in my professional circle or even my personal circle reaches out to me. And I think it really takes that village, as we hear so often, to collectively all succeed. And that is really at the root of everything that I do, is about achieving a collective and societal success.
As I'm hearing you talk about that collective societal success, I think about our respective children, right? And the children of the audience that could be listening to us today. And I want to ask you, what do you think we need to do collectively to create a better future, a more joyful future for those younger generations?
Well, collectively, I do believe we all need to give more. And we need to give more in many respects of the word give, whether it be giving in terms of time, in terms of support, financially in certain cases. So we have, philanthropy that I think it still needs a lot of professionals and other people who want to, again, make that difference in terms of our collective success and collective well-being. So I really think that that's the area of focus, is give more and being generous. I think those are two very important areas that we can all, I think, do more of. And I even challenge myself to see, like, maybe I can give to some other areas, other causes. How can I be of more assistance? How can I support people in my own community and women from underrepresented backgrounds and communities who have not yet reached a certain echelon in their career success? So it stems from that, giving more and having more generosity.
And how do you ensure that in the process of giving more, you don't lose your own well-being? How do we find that optimal balance to ensure that we do not forget about ourselves, and that sometimes being selfish is not necessarily a negative thing, and finding that altruistic, selfish dimension in everything we do every single day is actually healthier than just being 100% altruistic focus and forgetting ourselves in the process?
This is an excellent question, Andre, and I'm sure one that, many people, and particularly women, ask ourselves. So one is not at the expense of the other. So for instance, I do believe that prioritizing self-care is incredibly important. We need to do that. We need to make sure that we are healthy and that we are getting enough rest, that we're able to do things that bring joy to us, be it, travel or whatever in everyday life that could bring joy to us, and ensure that we nourish ourselves and take care of ourselves by really prioritizing our well-being. Having said that, I do believe also that there's a way to create a balance whereby you can also then give to the community and to others and uplift others at the same time without necessarily forgetting oneself. And I think it's essential we don't forget ourselves in the process.
Tell us about the most joyful moment that you've ever experienced in your life.
Wow, that's really quite a difficult question. I will say, if I can say two, because one will be forever ingrained in my mind, is hearing my two children cry when they were born by emergency cesarean. So, of course, having had such a difficult pregnancy, everything was just so uncertain. And to hearing the cries of my son and daughter are by far is the most joyful moment of my life, and the most, I guess, fulfilling, but also moment of incredible relief and happiness. But I will also give another moment that is extraordinary, and that's when I undertook a trip to Africa and went to the sand dunes in Namibia, and on the top of one of the largest sand dunes in the world, and just looked at this horizon that was endless. And it was a dream for me for many years to visit Africa. And one year I said, this is the year. And I traveled to several countries on that trip. And being on a sand dune, seeing animals in their habitat in a safari is just wow. I still to this day think about it. It was about 7 years ago, and it's as if it was yesterday.
Thank you for sharing, Monica. I know you also have a strong passion for travel, and it's also a source of joy for you. So other than Namibia, any other key destinations that have really brought that sense of awe in you?
Traveling to Nepal and Bhutan and trekking in the Himalaya was equally, I think, extraordinary. And meeting people from the villages in the remote areas of the Himalayas and seeing, Mount Everest from the airplane as we went, trekking in that part of the world. Extraordinary. Just, it takes your breath away to see the supremacy of nature, if you will, and just the power of nature, and also the beauty of connecting with people from different cultures who, don't have a lot of technology, who have very simple lives. They live really in simple circumstances, yet with a different language, and you're still somehow able to connect. And to me, that really shows, the power of how cultures can really coalesce and how much actually can bring us together, even though we have completely different upbringings and we live in totally different parts of the world. But, when I studied anthropology at McGill as an undergraduate student, I was always just so curious and have a thirst for knowledge to learn about different cultures, and traveling has absolutely just inspired me to even continue to learn about other countries and cultures.
And has the passion of different cultures and travel been passed on to your kids? Have you been able to let them experience the world with new eyes and really just travel and enjoy all the wonders of this world? Have you had the opportunity?
We have very, very thankfully, they have traveled to many countries, even though they're still at a young age. And I'm very fortunate to be with a partner who greatly admires and has traveled extensively as well. He is a pilot and he has done a trip around the world bicycling. And so, we pass on this joint passion to our children, and we couldn't be happier that they also appreciate visiting different countries and speaking different languages as well.
How many languages do the kids speak?
Well, three, English, French, and Spanish, although Spanish is still a work in progress. And they are starting to learn some German because my partner speaks sometimes in German to them. So we're very happy that they've taken to this curiosity of learning new words and traveling so that they can hear the language firsthand spoken every day.
Monica, it's been such a pleasure to speak with you today. Thank you so much for sharing your joyful journeys from being a mother to being a phenomenal, inspiring leader within the great organizations that you worked with. And I encourage you to continue discovering the world with so much passion as you've just shared, because indeed, it's just a blessing to be able to connect with people from different cultures and discover the beauty of this world that is just absolutely incredible. So thank you for joining us today. It's been an immense pleasure.
Thank you so much, Andrea, for this opportunity. Wonderful to be able to talk on such an incredibly important topic.